Hello, my sister wives and my brother husbands. It's been a while since we have gotten together, and I am super excited to be recording and dropping this Labor Day podcast session. And so this is something that's really been on my heart, and I was ready to drop it. I didn't want to wait till go live Sunday. It's really been heavy on me, so I knew it was time, and I needed to go ahead and be obedient. And so, for those of you who love to always know what my catchy topics are, the title of this podcast is called "Laboring Over Nothing." Laboring over nothing. So, where this whole idea came from, I was literally, I'm on tour right now with the book Purposeful Pain. It's out. It's been number one on Amazon in three different genres. So it's been number one in divorce, number one in spiritual growth, and also number one in family. So it's been doing amazing. I'm on tour right now, and I just came back from Lafayette, Louisiana, which is close to my hometown, and had an amazing time there at Barnes and Nobles. And anyhow, I have been traveling, and I was home in Lafayette, visiting my parents, and I have like the best ideas in the shower. I don't know if anyone else has like really amazing ideas in the shower, but sis, let me tell you, my ideas in the shower are like they be like $1 million ideas. So a lot of times I have to like stop my showering just so I can get to my phone and take notes. I'm always near my phone because I never know when God's going to drop something off in my spirit. And so I had gotten out of the shower, and I have natural hair. And I have very nice natural curly hair. And so I only wear curly hair though like during the spring and summer, because I don't really know enough about curly hair to wear it in the fall in the winter times, right? Because I just wet my hair and roll. So anyway, I'm in the bathroom combing out the conditioner, combing my hair, and I instantly start to think about the moment growing up as a little girl. I always wanted naturally curly hair. And I can remember, my mom's probably going to be so ashamed, but I can remember like being upset with her about why I did not have natural curly hair. And my mom relaxed my hair at, I guess a young age. I don't really recall what age I was when I first got my first relaxer. I'm probably thinking somewhere like 7 years old. And you got to think about it. I was born in '87. So at that time, in the early 90s, naturally curly hair wasn't as popular, or just natural hair period wasn't as popular as it is now. And I promise I'm going toward the story. So I can recall, my hair was always long and fine, and always had very beautiful hair. And so people would always compliment me like, "Oh, your hair is so gorgeous," and I, loved my hair or whatnot. But the biggest complaint I had about it was that when I would wet it, it wouldn't curl up. And so I'm from South Louisiana, and if you are African American in South Louisiana, or just who knows much about the South at all, you know that there is still some stigma around color in the South, and we still deal with that even in our own culture. And so I always wanted to have like the natural curly hair. And so I can recall like kind of getting upset with my mom. I was like, I love my daddy, but he didn't give me natural curly hair. Like, you don't think you could have got me somebody with some naturally curly hair jeans? So I was so upset. I can recall this conversation like yesterday, in my teenage years, talking to her about why is it that when I wet my hair it's just stringy. And, it doesn't curl up like some of the other girls in my class, or, that I was even friends with. And so now at 32, my hair is naturally curly. And God reminded me, you were laboring over nothing, meaning you were complaining and whining over nothing. Everything, the thing that you wanted, you already had in you. You just had to stop relaxing your hair, so that way you could find that the very thing that you were complaining about, I did place inside of you, but it was hidden behind you not wanting to allow your hair to not be relaxed. So now my hair is naturally curly. So for the past like 7 years, I know at least I've worn weaves and wigs, crochet hair, all that. Love changing my hair up. My hair changes quite often. And so I as I kind of transitioned into natural hair, because God is still like dealing with my vainness. So don't be trying to judge me on the podcast, because God is still dealing with my vainness. But I couldn't do the big chop. You know, like how some women, they just like went in, they cut their hair real short and just started from the bottom. Sis can't start from the bottom now. I'm here. I'm not. I can't. I know I'm trying. Y'all know I'm in the wilderness with y'all. Okay. I have not arrived yet. Okay. So I'm sitting there like, Lord, I'm not going to be able to just big chop my hair. So what I would have my stylist do, which is Jocelyn McIlvain, who also manages my page, by the way, the Joyous Marketing, she would cut relaxed portions of my hair off each time that I would get my weaves redone. So each time I would go in, she would take my hair down. She would chop off some of the relaxed ends, maybe do an inch or so, however, at a time, and then my hair would go back braided, back under a wig or back under a sew-in, and I would wear it for almost 2 months. So by the time I realized that my hair had fully transitioned, I was like, wow, I guess like the thing that I had been waiting on, I already had. Like, the whole idea of God, why didn't I have curly hair? God's like, you do have curly hair, sis, but you didn't stop long enough, relaxing your hair to realize that you got curly hair. You've got the kind of hair that you want. And I have a beautiful grade. I mean, people will always say, oh my God, people paid for the grade of hair that you have. But think of all the years that I went not knowing that I had that underneath all along. But because I got my hair relaxed at such a young age and then continued relaxing my hair all of those years, I never realized that. I mean, I was getting my hair relaxed every 6 to 8 weeks. And so God began to remind me of this past weekend, as I was combing my hair, that everything that we are desiring and that we are asking of him, he has already put in us. But we normally don't sit still long enough for it to manifest. And so because we don't want to, like me, you don't want a big chop because you're not ready for everybody to see your pointy ears like me, because I'm still vain. Don't want you to see my little pointy ears that I get from the Juba side of my family. And I just didn't want to cut my hair that short. And, so what did I do? I delayed the process, right? It took all those years for me to realize, like, girl, you got the grain that you were complaining about all this time. Imagine had you just relaxed and stopped relaxing your hair and just allowed the process to kind of do its own natural thing. You would have known all this time that you already had naturally curly hair. And so, God is so amazing in the way that he does things and in the way that he brings things to our remembrance, because, a lot of times we can find ourselves fussing and we're like, God, why don't I have this or why don't I have that? And God's like, why don't you just relax? Because it's already in you. You haven't tapped into it yet. And I think that's a lot of our issues. I released a quote out I think this week or prior, and I said, stop asking God for things that you don't have the capacity to handle at this moment. And a lot of us are so guilty of that. We spend so much time wanting God to do something, wanting God to manifest something, wanting God to show up with something. And we don't even realize that the very thing that we want him to do, he's already done. He's not even living in your present. He's living in our future. And so all we have to continue to do is wake up every single day knowing that we're one day closer to it. But the reason that we're not seeing it in the very second in which we want to is because we don't have the capacity to hold it. We don't have the capacity to withhold the promise. Sometimes we just gotta process with that deal, because a lot of us, if he gave us what our destinies were now, half of us would stop serving him because we feel like we arrived, and then we get the big head, and then he'd have to come back and strip everything to remind you that you are not anything without him. The other half of us would not do what we were purposed to do. We would take it, we would hide it, we would say, okay, God, this is my one little piece of hope and life and whatever. And we would just absolutely just dial down the fact that we don't need to continue to work. Walking with God is a continuous process. And I don't know who told whomever that being a Christian was supposed to make life a whole lot easier. Being a Christian makes life a whole lot harder. And the reason it makes it a whole lot harder because the enemy begins to come at us adversely extremely hard because we are trying to go against a current. Do you imagine being in a river or an ocean and you're trying to swim against the current? You have a lot of resistance in that moment. But think about what resistance does. Resistance builds your strength. Resistance builds your core. So with walking with God, you've got to know that there's going to be a lot of resistance. See, the enemy is not trying to resist people that he already have. He ain't trying to turn off what's already turned on for him. But he is trying to turn off what is turned on for God, because he understands that there's a different level of purpose that will come whenever people begin to connect with things that are in the line and will of God. And he doesn't want that. He never has. He doesn't care about you and your feelings or you and your generations. He cares about God not getting the glory. That is the main game that we're all playing. And a lot of us are playing right into the enemy's hands. And a lot of us are trying to fight against the enemy and make different type of movements. But a movement cannot be a movement if it does not include God. If your movement does not include God, then baby, you just walking. It's just cardio. You're not doing anything, because you plus him is the majority, but you plus you is the minority. And that's what we as Christians oftentimes do not realize, is that we are the majority with God, and that we find ourselves laboring and going back to God. God, can you please do this? God, can you open up this door? God, can you pour us out this blessing? God, can you begin to reveal to us? God's like, I've already revealed it, but you don't even sit down long enough to pay attention to see that the very thing that you are over here laboring in the prayer closet about, I've already handled. Matter of fact, I'm living in your next 3 months. I'm not even living in your current month. You in the summer, God is sitting in your winter, waiting on you to get to your winter. And when you get to your winter, he'll be sitting in your spring. He doesn't sit where you sit. That's why his thoughts are not our thoughts. That's why his ways are not our ways, because he's constantly going before us. You hear the old folks say all the time, and I do believe this may be scriptural, but they always say, God, make the crooked path straight. He can't make a crooked path straight if he's walking with you, because both of y'all are going to walk down the same crooked path. So if he's going to make the crooked path straight, then that has to mean that he has gone before you in order to do that. And so trust and believe that everything that he has designed for you to have, you're going to have. Stop laboring over things that he's already given you and just wait on the manifestation. Because if he said it, you can count on it. He will do just what he said. That's why he tells us to do the work. He says, write the vision, make it plain. That's the work and the obedience. Many of us will never see the manifestation of God because we have a problem with getting obedient. First of all, we don't want to get obedient because we're afraid about what it's going to cost and what we're going to lose. But how many of us know that it doesn't matter what it's going to cost or what you're going to lose, because A, greater is he that's in me than he that is in the world. And B, if you lose something, that means he's going to reapply it with greater. God never allows things to be removed out of your life that he is not going to add abundantly to your life. That's why the word says he's going to do exceedingly and abundantly above all we can ask or think. But in order for him to do that, we must remove our hands out of things and remove situations and people and things that do not edify God out of our lives in order to see that manifestation. Many of us want new furniture, but you still got your old furniture in the house. Baby, Ashley's furniture, Ivan Smith furniture can't bring new furniture. They can't bring another set of couches, another set of end tables, another set of lamps, if you already have that in your home. They can't bring that. I mean, they could, but then it's going to be cluttered. Now you complaining, I can't walk around my house safe without stepping my toe. But you refuse to let go of those things that are not of God. But we want new things. We want new manifestations. We want new miracles. We want new mercies, but we don't want to let go of the old things. See, you can't move forward and hold on to your backwards. So when I begin to really think about this message and thinking about laboring over nothing, I was like, wait, God, my focus is off. I don't want to labor over what you've already manifested. God, my prayers have changed. So now I'm like, God, let me align my mind and my thoughts that are on you, so that way I can begin to walk toward the process of what has already been manifested. I'm not trying to manifest. It's already been manifested. All I'm trying to do is align myself and ask that God prepare me to deal with what he has manifested. See, most of us are asking God to manifest when the real goat of this whole thing, the greater in this whole thing, is to ask God to align you to be prepared for the manifestation. See, I don't want the manifestation to come and then I'm ill prepared, because then at that point I'm going to miscarry that thing. And if I miscarry that thing, then at that point it's going to die. And who wants God to place a seed in them that they miscarry to the point that it dies? When a woman is impregnated and she finds out that she is pregnant, and a man finds out that he is about to be a father, no one prays that, oh my goodness, I hope this baby doesn't make it. We want it to manifest, right? We want to see the fruition of this thing. Period. No matter how they come into this world, no one just really wants to kill their seed, right? Now, some of us are not prepared for our seed. So then we find ourselves saying negative things like, oh, well, I wish it wasn't me, or I don't want this to happen to me. But the reason you don't want it to happen to you is because you're not prepared for it to happen to you. Many of us are so focused on manifestation that we completely forget about preparation. In order to advance in anything, you need to be prepared. God said he's coming back for a prepared people, meaning that there was a process, meaning that there was things that we had to do, meaning that there was an alignment that we had to get in aligned with in order to be prepared for his coming. If he just showed up right now, half of us not going to glory because our stuff is not together. We're not prepared. When I decided to commit my life back to God and commit my ways to him and commit my body to him, right? I decided then that I was going to die empty. I don't want when he comes back for me not for him to have manifested every single thing in me that I was designed for when he designed me. When he birthed me on March 13th, 1987, I was a design, right? And I don't want to die with gifts still locked up in me that I never birthed because I never got prepared for manifestation. And so because of that, I work really, really hard. And I'm not saying every day that I'm perfect, because I told y'all from day one, I'm in the wilderness with you. The reason Purposeful Pain and Purposeful Woman, the movement, came about is because I wanted to be like God. He said, if you made your bed in hell, I'll be there with you also. So as I travel through the valley of the shadows of death and I fear no evil, I want to be there with you also. I'm not talking to you from a I've made it. No, I'm talking to you I'm in preparation. I'm sitting next to you like a teacher and a student saying, okay, do you have this answer? Okay, what are you doing to work toward it? What are you doing to get to this level? Because I understand that graduation day is on the way. And if you're not prepared and you haven't taken the proper classes and you haven't made the proper grades, you won't graduate. And so I want to graduate when it's my season with him. So I don't want to spend my time laboring over what he's already put his stamp on. I want to labor preparing myself. If I know I got new furniture coming, I need to find somebody else to either gift or give away or throw away that old furniture. I need to get behind there. I need to sweep them floors. I need to mop. I need to get the dust, the trash, and everything else that's been sitting hidden there behind my old couch, because I've got something new that's about to arrive. And I don't want my new thing to come and sit on old dirty stuff that I could have handled before it came. Many of us can't get into the relationship that God has called us to be in because we're too busy trying to hold on to the old and grasp hold to the new because we're tired. But see, you're not that tired. Because you ain't tired enough to let go of that old stuff that you knew you wasn't going anywhere. You're not tired enough of letting go of those old ways. But then we tell God, but I want the new God. God said, what you going to give up for it? Y'all go out here to the casino. You give up your money in hopes of what? Retrieving more. We do it in every other aspect of our lives, entertainment aspect, friendships, whatever. But we don't want to do it when it comes to Him. I don't want to hold on to somebody that's going to hold me back from where He's trying to take me because I wasn't designed to be somebody else's relationship. My design was to bring Him glory. So if my connection to you doesn't do that, then we can't stay connected. And so some of us need to get that desperate in this season where we understand that if my connection to you is not bringing Him glory, then we can't stay connected. It's not personal. It's not personal. But I can't labor somewhere in a season where He has already taken care of the laboring. The labor has been paid. You think about it, God, you're so amazing, but you think about it, when you go and get work done on your car, what costs us most? The parts or the labor? The labor costs us more than the parts. And so if all I got to do is get the parts, all I got to do is get the parts, because He's already done the labor, then I'm coming in at half. I'm not having to spend that much money. We think that it's costing us so much when the truth is it's not costing you enough because He's already done and paid for the labor. The labor has already been paid for. So there's no reason for you to feel as if you need to pay for the parts and the labor. God said, I got the labor. You handle the parts. Our problem is we don't want to handle the parts. And we think we want the labor, but we really don't want the labor. But we think we do. Because that's our issue. We'd rather go and focus on something else that ain't our problem, that He didn't call us to focus on, than to do what we were called to do. And I think that's just a humanistic side of us. We would much rather go and talk about our neighbor and talk about who's not doing what than to deal with what we're not doing well with. Because the same people that are talking about others who aren't doing are the same people who aren't doing either. Some of us that are walking around saying, "Ooh, I wouldn't want to be with this person because they got this, and this." Well, you have this, and it too. The only difference is, Betty Wright said it best, the only difference in between me and you is you know me, but I don't know you. So when we find ourselves having so much free time to dog others, to not uplift others, it's because we're not checking our own door. We're not checking our own house. We're not checking our own relationships. I don't want to be so focused on someone else that I can't hear God. And so when you start getting in a season where you're like, God, I can't handle distractions in this season, my constant prayer every day is, God, give me dove's eyes. Give me undistracted devotion for only you. I don't want to be so consumed with the ways of the world and get so consumed with the everyday battle of, the routine of it all. Okay. I don't want the routine of it. I want that thing that when we come together, it changes something. It produces something in the earth realm that all leads back to giving God glory. I never want God to feel like He wasted His time when He made me. All because I'm not doing what He's called me out to do. Some of us, we waste so much time waiting on the right time, and we don't even wait right. That'd be the other problem. We're not even waiting right. We're just waiting. We're stagnant. We're doing nothing. And how many people know that doing nothing is still doing something? Doing nothing is still doing something. You're just not progressing. There's no results, but you're still doing nothing at all. But complaining and nagging God and laboring over things that He's already birthed. You worrying about pushing out the baby. He worrying about paying for the daycare. He's like, what are you talking about? You worrying about how you gonna take care of this. He's trying to figure out how are you mentally gonna have the capacity to hold what I'm giving you and not miscarry it. And what are you doing in preparation to prepare for your new? I want to be preparing for my new. I want to be preparing for what God is calling me to do. The beauty of having a prophetic gift like what I do have is that God always gives me a vision of my end. Always. And when he gives it to me, I can see it with my eyes open, so I know it's him. I don't even have to close my eyes. I can see the vision of my end. And so when he gives me visions of my end, my prayer to him is, okay, God, align me where I am positioned properly to reach manifestation. Meaning, I don't want to be out here doing things that don't align to you. And am I telling you that the enemy will not test you? No, sis and brother. No, I'm not telling you that. The enemy is going to test you. And let me tell you, he loves testing you with old pains and old flames. That's a whole word. I'm gonna repeat this for some of y'all who missed it. He loves testing you with old pains and old flames. Okay? And it's nothing more funnier to me, and more funnier is not the proper English, but I'm from the South. It's nothing funnier to me than people that seem to get it when you done got it. And you like, excuse me, you just found out I was favored? Sir, I was favored back then when you were out here mishandling me. Or ma'am, I was favored back then when you were out here mishandling me. Now all of a sudden you see the favor of the Lord on my life. Now you see I'm favored? No, I'm good. Miss me with that. Old flames and old pains can't hold me. Because where I'm headed, the reason I had to cut you was because you didn't have the capacity to go where I was going. You would drown in me, or you would drown with me, or you would make me drown with you trying to hold you up. I can't save you and me at the same time. When you fly, the first thing that they teach you, that you hear them teach you before you even take off, is if the plane begins to go down and you are flying with someone else, or you just sitting next to someone else, they tell you to put the mask, the oxygen mask on yourself first and then place it on the other person. Why? Because you can't save them and yourself at the same time. And how can you be a benefit to them if you done passed out on the ground trying to put the mask on them? You can't. If I want to be a benefit to you, then I first got to focus on me. And that's the issue that we have in so many relationships and so many situations. And relationships do not always mean romantic ones. Some of these issues we have just in our families with our brothers and our sisters and our parents and our friends and our coworkers. We have those same issues because instead of us focusing on ourselves, which is the only thing we can control, we want to focus on that man that we can't control. We want to focus on that woman that we can't control. We want to focus on that boss that we can't boss around. We want to focus on that job that the truth is you were there to impartake and to change, but you're so busy trying to focus on the person that's not doing right that you're not even focused on your assignment. And so then you completely forget what you're here for. I always remind my girlfriends, we're constantly talking and constantly sharing. We share the word of God a lot. And I will say this, your circle is a direct reflection of how you feel about yourself. Because what you circle yourself around in is a direct reflection of what you enjoy feeding yourself, right? And I love feeding myself good stuff. And I don't want to hear about no haters. I'm sorry. Like I'm over the season of a hater. I don't even have time. If you do hate me, I don't even care. First of all, I don't even have time to focus on you hating me because there's so many other people in bondage. And if you hate me and you come to me about you hating me, if you come, you may get free because I never know what prophetic word God has for you that he's going to use my lips to edify you with. So I don't even have time for that. So people that hang around people that has time to talk about haters, you either need to cut them or cut them. Because you don't even have time for that, okay? But I will say this about my group of girlfriends, especially my intimate circle, is that A lot of times, sometimes we find ourselves frustrated in our jobs and we vent to each other like, girl, I'm tired. I'm tired of this job. I'm ready to do something new. I'm over this. But I always remind them and tell them the very thing that you're frustrated about has nothing to do with the reason that you're there. You're there to plant a seed in someone that you ordinarily would have never come in contact with in any other way. God had to strategically place you where you are, and you're there for purpose. So stop looking for the way out and figure out why are you here. Because if you figure out why you're here, you're not even trying to think about the way out, nor are you focused on the distraction, which is the pain, and you are completely aligned with purpose, which will completely align you to manifestation. But if the enemy can keep you stuck on pain and stuck on why am I here, then he can keep you from catching manifestation. I'm not going to let you keep me from manifestation. So every single day that I'm on my job, I always tell God, thank you. Okay, God, I know if you have me here, it's because I need to bless somebody, and somebody is not going to reach their goal without me being here. You know, most of you know this and some of you may not, but I'm a mortgage officer. I'm a banker, and I have been for over 10 years in the banking industry. And so I meet a lot of people that are trying to reach the American dream. They want to own a home. They want a stable place. And so a lot of times that is one of the most scariest bills that they will ever obtain, right? And so they're so nervous and they're so afraid about it, but God always sits me there to help walk them through the book of faith, because it's not about them purchasing a home, it's about the process of getting to know God more. See, sometimes we focus on, the house and we don't want to look at the process, and then we get frustrated, but God is always pruning us for our next season, because he understands that opposition will never stop coming our way, because we're called to something greater and higher than ourselves. And so because of that, he's got to train us. I met a guy on my tour, and he said to me, when does the pain end? And I said, when you die. And he was like, and I told him, I said, you're worrying about when the pain will end instead of trying to figure out, God, you trusted me with this pain. Why? Who is it that I am called to? And what am I directly supposed to be impacting, that you gave me this particular pain, that if I don't impact, it will not change in the earth? But we so focused on the pain and how long is it going to last. When you are a mother giving birth, especially to my natural birth women, whoop, whoop, I'm a natural birth mom. I pushed out 2 kids, baby. Don't let my small frame fool you, okay? 2 small children, big children, because both my boys were 7 and 8 pound babies. But I'll say this, as a mother that's pushing out children, who has pushed out 2 children, I was never concerned about how long the pain was going to last as I was about, are my babies okay? See, it was something about me going through that pain and me feeling those contractions and me knowing that they were coming. See, the pain reminds you that the promise is coming. That's a whole word right there. The pain reminds you that the promise is coming. And when you're birthing that thing and you're feeling those contractions and they're getting stronger and stronger, and they're coming quicker and quicker, and you think about the blows that the enemy is doing bigger and bigger and quicker, and you're finding yourself thinking, God, I just can't catch a break. God says, because you're breaking. You're at the breaking point, baby, where you're about to push out that baby, and you're no longer concerned about how long the pain is going to last, but is my child breathing when it comes out? See, that's what that's where my mindset is. God, is my child breathing when it came out? I don't care about what the pain felt like. I want to know, is my child breathing? That's the first thing. I'm listening for his cry, right? And once I can hear his cry, I know that there is life, meaning there is manifestation, meaning there is promise. My promise has been fulfilled, which means all of the pain that I had to go through, the pain of my body going, exploding out, and me being big 9 months pregnant, the pain of me feeling contractions that hurt extremely bad. All of those things remind me that, yes, I had to go through a process, but God never changed his promise for my life. And my promise sits in my seed. So why am I laboring over what he's already manifested? Spend your time concerned with things that are pushing you closer to purpose, and stop focusing on pain, because pain is an indication that God trusts you. If he didn't trust you, he wouldn't give you pain. He would let the enemy take you and let you just be over there by the wayside, acting like you don't have any sense, like my grandma used to say. Be out here acting like you have no sense. That's what he believed you doing if he couldn't trust you with pain. Everybody that you meet, you're called to impact in some form or way. Never think it's strange that this person or that person is randomly placed into your life. Never think it's strange. And I'm not telling you that it don't sometimes hurt, because I've been hurt. I've been through it. I've been pained by others, and I've been other people's pain. I've been somebody else's purposeful pain. Somebody else has been mine. But what I will say is that if I would not have gone through the fire, I would not realize that I still didn't have to smell like the flame of smoke. God had to send me through to get me to manifestation. So I'm okay with that. He trusted that I wouldn't give up in my seasons. He trusted that I would not get weary in my well-doing. He trusted that I would honor his word. But most importantly, he trusted that I would share my testimony. And so we are overcome by our testimony. Many of us are so afraid to share because we don't know what sharing looks like. But I implore you to get past you to see the greater picture of who you were called to be, and to see the greater picture of who God designed you to always become. I would have never become the woman that I should have became in day one had he not had to crush me and send me through a process that changed and revolutionized my entire being. My entire being. It's the most beautiful, intimate love story ever is the love story that he had for me. And so, I just implore you all to no longer labor over nothing, because he's already got it set out. It's already planned. The fight was fixed with you in mind. So why are you laboring over what has already been set in motion? He's already living ahead of your time. He's already living ahead of your dream. You on dream 1, baby. He on dream 21. And it's all good, and it's all God on purpose. So I pray that this blessed you. I pray that you will not continue to labor over the things that he's already called to manifest, but that you will align yourself in the process so you can be positioned properly for manifestation. So see you next time. I love you. If you do not have our app, download it today. purposefulwomanapp.com. It is free in your iTunes store, your Android, Google Play store. Share our message, share our love, and share our heart as we teach one to reach one on purpose. Goodbye.